It's scary for me. Like, she has the same temperament as my dad, and my dad was always hard on me, so like it's kind of like it triggers me.
Is there a way that Morgan could have addressed you differently?
Yeah, if somebody calls me out, like, I would like it to be like...
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about Married at First Sight, and we're dealing specifically with Binh and Morgan. And I say this, listen, Morgan reminds Binh of your dad, then listen, I need you to find your voice real quick, Binh. Find your voice real quick. Listen, every season we have these kind of situations. Ever since season 12, I believe, you know, I've said most of the times it's usually the women that are in this situation. And I did it with Chris and Paige. Find your voice now. Because you need to. Because as much as I can talk about the perpetrator and I can talk about Morgan all day, I have to talk about Binh too. Find your voice. This is your test. This is your test. You got put in a situation is unfortunate, but you need to find your voice in this situation. Because now you can put boundaries in place and let her know how you actually feel. Because passively, aggressively, or if I say conformity, inwardly, Binh is disagreeing with what Morgan is saying. But outwardly, in order to... we're going to get deep. I'm not going to go there just yet. I'm not going to go there yet. I'll do another video for that. But inwardly, what Binh is doing is people... In general, Binh is people-pleasing. Even with the doctor there, he's people-pleasing. He's still not being honest. And I'll break that down in another video. But right now, we need to focus on Binh and say, Binh, I need you to find your voice ASAP Rocky. If you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they're hot. All right, let's get into this video. Let me break this down for you guys and talk about this as well.
The same tone that we're speaking, I guess, in a constructive criticism type of way.
I mean, I do understand that maybe I could have created like a safer space for him. Maybe it's the tone that I use. Maybe it's the verbiage that I use.
I want you to understand something about Binh, what I'm noticing. Binh is very self-aware in terms of when it comes to reflecting on the issue, he will explain to you why he does what he does. It's actually very, very good. It's impressive to watch. Not many people can do that, where they introspectively realize my behavior, I did X, Y, and Z, and that's why I'm doing this. You know, my father had the same kind of tone, and that's why I'm doing this. You can tell, if he's in therapy, you can tell it's working, yeah? Because the way he's able to dive in deep to why he does what he does is important. Love it. And I appreciate the fact that he's finding a voice to explain why he does what he does. What voice I need him to find now is a voice that says, these are my boundaries. And I need him a voice to also say as well, as much as I believe that I've contributed towards this environment, you have done X, Y, and Z, and I need you to understand these are my boundaries, right? Because in this scenario, we talked about how he's been the way he's been. Listen, I even think to myself, I don't want to say, let's say, white lies. I want to say that maybe you hyperboled it a little bit more. Maybe you told it a bit more with a bit more energy than it needed to, right? But I believe you were telling your particular truth, and you were telling that truth. But then when they've challenged you, you've stepped back and said, "Do you know what? Everything you said is correct," and it's not correct, and you don't agree. And I'll show that in another video. You don't agree. I'll show you the clip for that. You don't agree with that, but you're doing that because you want to be liked. And so instead of actually now being real about your boundaries, about what you agree with and what you disagree with, you're just accepting everything you are being wrong with. I don't think you're wrong in this situation. I don't think there's everything. No, I don't think everything is your fault in this situation. But you do need to find a voice quick, because Morgan is taking more inches from you because you're giving it to her. More time, we always talk about how the perpetrator Morgan is abusing and did it. Oh, I agree, but she's taking inches because you're giving it to her. You've created room and an environment where they can take from you. Okay? All right, this is not a conglomerate who knows the law and we don't know the law. This is a relationship, and even when you know the law, you can fight back, can't you? If you know yourself and you know how you are, how you're supposed to be treated, you can put up effective boundaries. Say, hey, I appreciate Morgan, but you know what? You've done X, Y, and Z, and that also affected me. Not everything they say to you that you're taking it on board. I did X, Y, and Z, and you're internalizing every single thing, and that you're believing that every single thing is a direct result of your behavior, and you're wrong in every single instance. That's not the correct way to go about it. It's not solving the actual issue. Morgan's going to keep on doing what she's going to do.
Maybe there's something different I could have said, but this has been happening from essentially day one. So I don't know how differently I could have been to make you not lie to me.
I should have came to Morgan like, hey, like, I don't like this tone.
Now, she said, obviously, maybe I could have changed my tone. We knew your tone was off, Morgan. It's not about if my tone was off. We knew your tone was off from the very beginning. And I called it out on my... If you go back from my videos, I spoke about every couple and what triggers will happen to that person. Father figure, having no father figure, being a mama's boy. I said about what triggers they're going to have. It's playing out exactly as we talked about, right? So now we have the situation where I could have changed my tone. If maybe I could... Not if. Yes, change it. You know, I need to change my tone. I need to work on that. Yes, change that. Not if, change that. But you see, Binh can't pick up on that because right now, guilt, shame is literally surrounding him, right? And you know what? He's used to being in a situation where he's being wrong and grounded and pounded with it, right? She got the same tone his father took. That you're wrong in this, that. So what's you naturally implemented? People pleasing. So in order not to be in trouble again, what am I going to do? I'm going to say everything's my fault. Everything's my fault. Just halt the firing. Just halt that you shouting at me. Just halt that. I'm wrong. Yes, I'm wrong. Everything you're saying, I'm wrong. You're right. I'm wrong. I need to work on me. I need to fix several things. No, he does need to fix things. And the therapy is important. It's probably working. But I also need you to understand that part of that fixing also is understanding where you take accountability and where you don't. When you take on too much accountability when it's not really your thing to be accountable for, you start letting the person off the hook. Because if you're meant to go to jail for 1, 2, 3 crimes, but you add 4, 5, 6 because, oh, you know what, I'm already hit. No. Then you rob the other person of their accountability. They need to take accountability for what they're doing. And that's what Binh is in the process of doing right now.
But obviously what happened was me hiding from my problems, which in retrospect, looking in the mirror, I've done a lot in my life. So basically, I'm just running away.
Again, we get a nice little breakdown of Binh's behavior. A nice little breakdown of the reason why he does what he does. We ain't never heard Morgan say why she did what she did from the very beginning of this episode. I can't recall. She might have done, but I can't recall. And I remember the first time he ever broke that down, she was even dismissive of it. We rarely get to see Morgan actually tell us why she do what she do. Why do Morgan react the way she do? We don't know. Because she don't know. Right? She ain't breaking nothing down. She ain't bringing us something new to the table so we can understand where she's coming from. Right? So, Binh, I need you to find your voice. Find it now, because she's taking more inches because you're giving it to her and you're refusing to speak. When you speak, it becomes word. It becomes law. This is my boundary. You don't go past this boundary. Hey, look, do you know what? I agree. I made a mess up on here. But this is you, right? This part is you. And yes, once in a while, of course, you might want to cover the person and say, look, I'm going to cover them. I'll take it all. But it's not every time. What happens is you leave yourself to be abused, because what you're saying, and people know this, right? You do this at home, right? You wash the dishes 3 times a week or whatever, right? Your partner stops washing dishes for the other few days. You start picking up the slack for 5 days. And what you realize is by the end of the next 2-3 months, you're on 5 days out of 7. When beforehand you was on 3. And the person's not saying anything now, so they're just taking advantage. And the reason why is because you're not saying anything. But then you're getting frustrated and annoyed and hurt at that moment, but you haven't communicated nothing. What do you expect them to do? You have to open up your mouth and talk. I remember I said something to this. I remember back in the day, one relationship, I remember that, I was giving, in the sexual department, right? I was giving a lot, right? But I was silent, and closed mouths don't get fed. I remember it must have been like a month or 2 later, and I was like, you're not really giving me nothing. And it's because I want you to read my mind and give it to me, because that's the same way I would do. But not everyone is like that. Not everyone's going to read your mind. Not everybody can tap into your mind and go, oh, I know exactly what he wants now. Like, you have to say it. And you have to get to a place where you open your mouth and say it. Yes, in the past, you've said it in your childhood and it got dismissed. Yes, in your past, you tried to open your mouth about wants and needs and it got dismissed. Yes, in the past, you said some things and then it didn't happen and you had to go out and make it happen. But guess what? You're in a relationship now and you have to speak up right now, Binh. It cannot be on Morgan alone to say, oh, Morgan's perpetrating all these values. She's taken because you're giving. She's taken because you're giving. And you're being taken advantage of because you're giving. And you're not realizing this is your limit. Right? Your people pleasing, okay? Your silent expectations are going to hurt you because you're refusing to talk. Speak up, Binh. Open the mouth. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded.